We're back with another video. Before we get into the video, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. A lot of fans are saying that Camel Face, when he drops his diss record on Nicki Minaj and Drake, that he will be going #1 and his album will do 300,000 or more because of his previous album success. Now, fans have posted a stat of Camel Face's album sales saying that he will outsell Nicki Minaj because most of his albums, he's done around 600,000 to 400,000 first week. Nicki Minaj's highest selling album first week sales was Pink Friday, where she did 375. Okay, first week. Nicki Minaj also did mention that Pink Friday 2 did 300,000, but unfortunately Billboard took 100K sales away. Now, allegedly Camel Toe is gearing up to drop a song and he is betting that it will shoot to #1 due to his recent disses of Nicki Minaj and Champagne Thickums. A fan even said Camel Face had every right to respond to those who were disrespecting his name. And from the marketing standpoint, it was a masterful move for his album rollout. The surprising part, he hasn't even emptied the clip. Allegedly, there's more things he wants to say to Young Money and all of his haters. Here's the thing. Nicki Minaj has been successfully outselling Camel Face since the beginning of her career, if we really check the stats and not just first week sales. Nicki Minaj, amongst 5 albums, is doing 16 million streams. Camel Face, amongst 17 albums, is only doing 9 million streams. That's not good. The most streamed solo song by Nicki has 1.6 billion streams. Unfortunately for Camel Toe, his most streamed song is at 290 million. Okay. Now, daily, Nicki Minaj is doing 800K. Camel Face is only doing 70,000. Wow. And then we're talking about album units. Unfortunately, Nicki Minaj is in the lead for that too. Billboard 200 at cumulative weeks since 2010, where Nicki Minaj put out her first album. Nicki Minaj has done 400 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. Unfortunately, Camel Face has done 151 weeks, okay? So he's nowhere near catching up. Now, Camel Face fans are saying, well, sales don't matter, okay? They're saying, well, Drake and Nicki, yes, they do more sales, but sales don't matter. Talent matters. And that is true. I agree with that 100%. And Nicki Minaj has proven, and so has Drake, that they might be more talented than Jay-Z. Because one thing about talent is not just about bars. You got to have hit records. Camel Face has never been able to fully cross over to the pop lane like Drake and Nicki successfully without a feature, without a Mariah Carey, without a Justin Timberlake. He has not been able to do that. Without a Pharrell, without a Kanye, he has not been able to do that. Nicki Minaj and Drake have been successfully able to cross over to that pop lane without doing features. Super Bass, Starships. Even if you want to talk about Super Freaky Girl, Red Ruby. There's a lot of songs Nicki has in her catalog that will always be more successful than a Camel Face song. I do think he is still a GOAT and he's very talented. But if you can't cross over without a feature, without Beyonce, if you can't cross over without a Beyonce feature, then you're not on the same level as Drizzy and Nicki, though. Okay. But one thing about him, he does own his masters and his publishing, unlike Champagne Thickums. So I will give him that. But other than that, I don't ever listen to Camel Face's music, especially Beyonce not on it. Now, do I think if he drop a diss record, will he go #1? No, I think he'll go top 50, maybe top 20, but he won't go #1. Okay, even if he's dissing Nicki Minaj and Drake. Now, the streets are saying that Scratch Off can possibly get a Grammy nomination for her album Big Mama in the rap categories because the Grammys commented mother under one of her Instagram pictures. And a lot of people, despite her low sales, are saying that the album is decent. I don't see people saying that it's really great. You know, some people are saying it's trash, but a lot of people are saying that it's decent. Let me know how you guys feel about the album. Where do you rate it? I think I gave it a 4 or 5 out of 10 because I only like about 4 or 5 songs. Okay. And I was being nice about that. Okay. I was being courteous about that 4 or 5. But I will say that I can see Scratch Off getting a nomination for Big Mama. Her winning, probably not going to happen. Okay. She'll get a nomination, but Side Chick Mama is not going to be Rap Album of the Year. There's no song that's going to be best, rap song or best melodic rap song on this album. Absolutely not. Obviously, that will be going to Don Toliver or Baby King. Okay, and if Champagne Thickum put Iceman up, Iceman gonna win. Okay, probably in majority of the categories. Scratch Off, unfortunately, this album can't compete with Baby King, Don Toliver, or Iceman. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to be honest, it just can't. Moving on from that, there has been a court update in regards to the Megan Thee Stallion and Milagro lawsuit. Recently, if you had not been updated, unfortunately, the judge has put the defamation verdict back on Milagro. Okay. And basically, now Milagro has defamed Megan Thee Stallion because the defamation verdict was put back on. It was removed. But of course, allegedly, and in my opinion, this is what I personally believe, Roc Nation made a few phone calls. Milagro is pursuing her 11th Circuit appeal. In a June 3rd, 2026 filing, Cooper asked the federal court to preserve the status quo pending appellate review and says immediate enforcement would create imperable hardship while substantial legal issues remain on appeal. According to the motion, Milagro says her appeal challenges issues tied to the court's post-trial rulings, including the reinstatement of the defamation verdict. She argues that those questions are substantial enough to justify a stay under federal rule of a Civil Procedure 62 while the 11th Circuit reviews the case. Milagro tells the court she is an individual and self-employed media commentator, researcher, and content creator, and says her income comes from audience support, subscriptions, platform monetization, and other fluctuating revenue sources. She says she does not have the substantial liquid assets and cannot immediately satisfy the judgment and lacks the financial ability to oppose a full supersedious bond. The motion also says Cooper helps support her household and 2 minor children and argues that immediate collection efforts will significantly impair her ability to pursue the appeal, including paying for filing fees, transcripts, and record preparation, legal research, and other appellate expenses. In addition to asking for a stay, Cooper specifically asked the court to waive, reduce, or otherwise modify any bond requirements. She argues that a full bond would effectively deprive her of meaningful appellate review and asks in the alternative for some form of reduced bond or other security the court finds appropriate. So basically, Megan Thee Stallion's team wants Milagro to pay an additional like $69,000 on top of the $59,000 or $75,000 it would be if the defamation is reinstated, which would be a total of over $100,000. It'd be like $130,000, $128,000, because they want Milagro to foot the bill for their service and process filing fees, the deposition transcripts, hearing transcripts, trial exhibit printing. They want her to pay for the psychologist that was on the stand. They want her to pay a bunch of these fees that Megan Thee Stallion's team accumulated during trial. This does not even include the attorney fees that they also want Milagro to pay for. And I think that Megan is just being spiteful, in my opinion. She clearly could afford to do all of this. And on top of that, it wasn't even worth it. Like, okay, if you get the $130,000, we know you wanted millions. We know that you wanted $4 or $5 million like Tasha K in the Cardi B lawsuit, but you ain't gonna get that. Now, there's a video circulating around the internet of Kendrick Lamar, the king of rap, with his boo Whitney at her 40th birthday dinner. And a lot of people are seeing that there's something on her neck. A lot of people are saying it's a bruise or something of that sort. And are alluding to Kendrick beating Whitney's behind, which I definitely don't believe. I think it probably is a piece of hair, maybe. Maybe she bumped her neck on something. Maybe she accidentally hit her neck on something. I don't know if I believe Kendrick would do that right now. I personally don't believe that Kendrick was beating on Whitney on her 40th birthday. Like, I don't believe he did that on her 40th birthday. She probably was, skiing or doing something, exploring the world, and she ended up hitting her neck on something or as a piece of hair. I don't think he beat her on her 40th birthday. He's not Ike Turner. I'm going to need to see more evidence or a police report. I think people are just trying to find something because Kendrick is low-key. He has a good track record. He's not a womanizer like, Champagne Thickums and always running through women. He is very low-key to himself, and so I think people are just searching for something. Now, Cardi B thanks her fans for dragging Scratch Off while she's going through postpartum. She said, "I really wanted to tell y'all that I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Held me down like I'm your sister, cousin, mommy, friend. No funny shit. I really love how y'all held me down from edgy to cupcakes. How can we come together like that? We funny, however, ... moi." Okay? Now, this is in response to, Cardi B fans dragging Scratch Off all week and saying that they're not listening to her music, even though Scratch Off is going through postpartum. Scratch Off also went on The Breakfast Club, and she said and confirmed that she was technically talking about Cardi B and her music. She said, "Well, yes, it was about Cardi. I rap about what's going on in my life. I was at an early stage of my pregnancy, and I rushed to the studio to do this verse for her first week sales every time remix, literally like 2 days later." Interesting. So she admits that it was for the sales because they want to beat that 228. I'm seeing all over the internet, I'm being called a pussy, I'm pregnant, emotions tied, and it was someone I deadass looked at as a friend. We was on texting basis. I'm open to a conversation when, I don't know, it wasn't a diss, it was where I was in my life. Now, you know damn well that was a diss. Your ghostwriter need another reader? Come on now. That's a diss. And then you said your man buys you purses so you don't need a purse. And that's a diss too. So I'm going to have to give Scratch Off 50,000 lashes for backtracking, but the backtrack ain't working. As for Cardi B saying edgy or cupcake, I'm not really shocked. I mean, we already know that Cardi B used to be a Nicki Minaj fan. It's been proven time and time again that she's obsessed with Nicki Minaj. I don't know why people are shocked that she's using Barb lingo. She probably got a secret Barb account. I keep telling y'all that. So I wasn't really shocked by that either. Scratch Off also mentioned that Cardi B did not apologize privately to her until 2 months after the recording drop of her calling Scratch Off a pussy. So Cardi B is fake, and that's basically what Scratch Off said in her interview. Fans were also calling Scratch Off out for commenting under Ari Fletcher's picture after she uses one of Scratch Off's songs from her album, because as we know, Ari Fletcher slept with Off the Cheat while he was still married to Cardi B. So a lot of people were upset about that as well. Now, Cardi B wrote a message to Scratch Off on social media. She said, "I truly understand how you feel, and that's exactly why I chose to apologize publicly, because the disrespect became public. On that call, I didn't even mean to call you that. I didn't mean any harm. There is a difference in what I said versus what I meant. What I could have said was you were too forgiving and gave too much mercy in that situation. But it was a heated conversation. I let my mouth get the best of me. When the call came out, I was 8 months pregnant and just released my album, and I was extremely overwhelmed and emotional. That's not to excuse what I said, but to let you know where I was in my head. I genuinely felt bad about what happened. In 2025 and 2026, I made multiple attempts to connect. I spoke with your manager, your sister, and even texted you directly to take full responsibility. I always had love and respect for you. I always wanted to make it right. But making it right looks different for both of us. I wanted to connect with you, but you wanted to address it on your album." So it looks like to me, Cardi B is begging for mercy, mostly because I think she don't really want the smoke in the booth. I don't think she feels like she can go toe-to-toe with Scratch Off in the booth. So that's why she's begging for mercy. But I do commend Cardi B for apologizing again. That's actually very big of her. I know Ken Barbie wrote it, but the fact that she's apologizing, being the bigger person and not being petty, is actually very shocking. So I will give Cardi B her twos. But let me know how y'all feel about it. I got some very hot tea on Nicki, Drake, and Camel Face on Patreon. Link will be in the description. Have a great day.